can be filed on behalf of the 14,000 families, children, that are now involved in DCS custody cases here in the state of Arizona. You can look it up for yourself. I will post it again in our links on our pages. What the judge found is what we have been saying, and that is, here in Arizona, and it's the same throughout the country, that DCS has been taking children who should not have been removed from the home. That DCS has been putting children in the care of molesters and abusers. And children who have been taken out of the custody of their parents, put into foster care facilities and homes, have had a history of being more abused in some studies and in worse condition in some studies than they were if they would have stayed in the home that they were taken out of. That they have consistently found illegal, shady, questionable ways to rule out family members from being the ones who have custody of these children. This is a travesty of justice as it relates to our babies. When you can come, and we have an example I'm going to give you of a young sister whose child was taken. She was accused of drug use. I sat in the room with DCS when they said that she tested positive for drugs, even though they did not have the result of the drug test that she took through them. In a 45-minute intermission, before they made their ruling, they all of a sudden were able to make manifest a report that they said came anonymously from a source they didn't want to reveal that showed she had tested positive for drugs. Approximately 2 to 3 months later, we have now learned through a letter sent to her from the hospital that not only was DCS in the wrong, but that the hospital gave false information, that she had never tested positive for drugs, and they apologized to her for DCS becoming involved with her.
Wow.
And they told her in the letter how she can file a lawsuit against them, the hospital itself. We went to court, they went to court, and even though they found no drug abuse with her, forced her to go through drug treatment, though she's not a drug addict, even though they found no drugs in her system, no drugs in the baby system, no drugs in the grandmother's system, they still refused to return her child. Under the guise of what? We don't know enough about you. This is the kind of wickedness that's going on in America as it relates to our children. And brothers and sisters, once again, I have to say we are sleeping. We are sleeping. Go sit in the courtrooms, in the juvenile courtroom, and look at the cases that are coming through. They are taking children under the guise of neglect. They can go into a parent's home and see that the parent hasn't washed dishes, and they can charge the parent with neglect and take the children out of the home.
Wow.
This is a reality. I've even had my own experience where after spending 30 days in the hospital and being accused of trying to, my now child who's number one or the top 1% of science students, the 7th graders in the country, they accused us of trying to starve our child to death. And they wanted to perform surgery on my 11-week-old baby, cutting his stomach open so they can force a tube into his stomach because they couldn't get him to eat. They are experimenting with our children, brothers and sisters, with behavioral experiments, behavioral drugs. They are taking our children. As the sister pointed out last Saturday, they put her son on an antidepressant while he was underage, forgot that they had him on the drug, and then that goes against, right? He was underage, so he shouldn't have had the drug. That's one violation. Then they, quote unquote, forgot that they were giving him the drug. And then, against the recommendation of the drug manufacturer, they suddenly took him off of the drug, knowing that the warning label says if you suddenly take the child off the drug, the child or the person, not the child, the person would become or could become suicidal. They are experimenting on our children in custody because the parents no longer have rights over the children. In some cases, brothers and sisters, they sever the rights of the parents. They change social security number, they change name, where the parents will never have contact with the children again. We are not talking, about cases where children are really truly being abused and they should be taken from the home. We're talking about cases where a sick-minded, as they told me, in my case, they said, brother and sister, I was told by the caseworkers, and this happens all over the country, said, Tremkius, you're not guilty. We know you're not guilty. Said, but you resisted them. And because you resisted the caseworker, she knows that what she writes, the judge will go with her writing more than your word. And she's going to do everything possible to punish you for resisting her. He said that when she said jump, she expected you to say how high, and you didn't. So they're going to punish you. I asked him, I said, would you say that in the courtroom? And he told me no. He said, as long as I work for DCS, I will always speak on behalf of DCS. But he knew, as he sat across me in that very courtroom, that I was being faced with lies.
Wow.
You have parents that are spending tens and thousands of dollars that they do not have on lawyers in cases and still losing cases, going into debt, losing their jobs. This is an attack on our community. This class action lawsuit that's been filed, or that's going to be filed against DCS in Arizona, is only a witness of what we've been advocating ourselves for the last 3 years, but some have been advocating this cause longer than we have.
Wow, and we don't hear about this in media at all.
You don't hear about it in media. And listen, let me tell you what they did. So there was a court here, case here in Arizona